Now that we've made it easier for an operator to start a batch of work, let's improve our record format. We're going to do that by learning to use the checkbox edits. This part of the record format generator lets you specify attributes for each field in the record and control the type of data that can be entered into the field. We'll leave data entry by choosing H, go to Unibase main menu. Press Release to proceed. Then A for Advanced Processing, D for File Definitions, B for Record Format, C for Change. And, of course, we're going to change record format Play. Take the default past the GUI screen editor, release to proceed, and hey, something different happened this time. We get a warning at the bottom of the screen. This is because we actually use the Play record format for keying, and Unibase keeps track of this so that it can warn you that any changes you make had better not affect the size of the record format or the arrangement of the data fields. However, since we're still testing our job, we don't care about this restriction. If we need to change the size of a field or add one, we'll simply delete our testing batches. If several thousand records have already been keyed and the customer decides to add a field, there are techniques for saving the information and stuffing it into a new job. These techniques will be discussed in separate lessons. Let's press Release to get past this message, and we're at the Record Format's Maintenance menu. We'll choose B, Display Screen, to refresh our memory and so you can see what this item looks like. And this does look familiar. We've got our two title tag-only fields at the top of the screen. You'll see those in the checkbox edits. And we've got our data fields 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those 9 fields are going to show up in the checkbox edits too. We press Help, get a message that no changes have been made, and press Field Release. Now we're going to choose Edit Checkboxes. But before we actually get to the checkbox edits, Unibase asks us to answer 3 questions about the whole record format. The first question has to do with how the fields are presented to the operator. The default of Yes shows the entire screen to the operator, just as we saw in our tests. If you change this to N for No, one field at a time is presented to the operator. As he exits a field, the next field pops up. In most instances, operators prefer the full screen option. They like to see what's coming. That's why it's the default. There are a few times, particularly on very busy screens, when not using the full screen option is useful. That makes it easier for an operator to find his place should he look up and become distracted from his keying. So we'll take the default by pressing Field Release. The next item, New Document Indicator, has a default of No. It is used to specify whether this format starts a new document. And with one record format, we don't need a New Document Indicator. Use Keying Order as Field Number also has a default of No, because that's the way Unibase normally functions. Fields are referenced in edit programs in their sequential order on the screen, left to right, top to bottom. You would use Yes if DMAC converted your programs from a system that used Keying Order as the field number. In a nutshell, this means Unibase interprets a reference to field 1 as the first field to be keyed, not the first field on the screen. This will make more sense when you start learning to write programs. And when I press Field Release, we finally get to our first set of checkboxes. Hooray! And wow! There certainly are a lot of them. 51 right now, and even more for image entry. Don't let the number of checkboxes intimidate you. They're really easy to use, and you don't and won't have to use them all. We'll explore the ones used most often and expand on the more esoteric checkboxes in other lessons. It isn't necessary to learn everything about Unibase in the first go-round. That would be discouraging. Learn what you need to get the job done. As you gain experience, you can try out some of the other features or play back the lesson on something a customer may have requested, such as value tables. First, let's learn how to navigate the checkboxes. A lot of the keys that are operable in data entry work here too. We can move from field to field by pressing the field release key. Only in this case it's non-destructive. To actually change a field, you have to key a character. Many of the checkboxes accept Y for yes, but must be blank for no. You can blank them out by either pressing the space bar or using the delete key. The release key takes us to the checkbox edits for the next field, and so does record forward. Record back will take us to the prior field's checkbox edits. The record format generator also supports the field G key combination. Press function key 4, then the letter G, and a Go To field number slot opens up at the bottom of the screen. Enter the field number where you want to go, and Unibase takes you there. This key combination only works for data fields though, not for tag-only fields. DMAC has also set the tab key to stop at the beginning of each section and at the Field Edit checkbox. The cursor keys are also useful. You can use them to go up and down one of the columns in the checkbox edits. Let's go back to the beginning of our format. And now let's see what we can learn from the top of the screen. These checkboxes are for the first field that shows up on the screen. We have a field number of 0 and a field length of 0. That's because our first field is one of our titles and has no data to be keyed. Unibase refers to fields where data can be keyed as real fields and numbers them sequentially. Tag-only fields always have a field number of 0. The tag portion of the field appears below the word tag. This is because the tag can be up to 80 characters in length, and we need a full line to display it. We also learn from the top of the screen that our tag starts in line 1 and column 32 of the keying area. That makes sense because we centered the title when we painted it on the screen. Since checkbox edits have no effect when there's no data to be keyed, we'll release to the next field, which is our second title line, and then release again to our first data field. The cursor stops on the field length, which is the first checkbox where you can make changes. You can't change the tag here, nor the line and column it appears on, nor the field number. That can only be done with Paint the Screen. The field length is the number of underscores you keyed when you were creating the area for an operator to enter data. But we're all human here, I think, and we don't always do everything correctly. That's why data entry shops verify, remember? So Unibase lets you make a change to the field length in the checkbox edits, since it's easier to do as a number rather than by counting underscores. We'll experiment by changing this number to 25. Then we'll go see what happens to Paint the Screen. I'll press Help, Terminate, and then choose A, Paint the Screen. And how can we tell if the name field has increased to 25 characters? Well, I'm lazy. I don't want to count them, so I'll put the cursor on the first character, which is indicated by the caret, and it says we're in column 7. Now I'll move the cursor to the end of the field, and it says we're in column 32, and subtraction tells us that this field length is 25. That was cool. Let's go back to the checkbox edits in our first field. Take the defaults past the questions. What happens if we do something stupid? Let's go to the city field and make it 20. When we press Help and Terminate, Unibase tells us we did do something stupid, and it resets the field length to one position. If we go to paint the screen, we see the city really does have only one character. So let's change it back to its original length of 15. And we'll look at more checkbox edits in the next lesson.